What happens when one of the greatest legends in basketball history steps in to defend one of the WNBA's most controversial and polarizing young stars? That's exactly the storm shaking up the sports world right now as Shaquille O'Neal, yes, the Diesel himself, has officially come to Angel Reese's side after what many are calling the ultimate betrayal by the Chicago Sky. Fans are saying enough is enough, insiders are leaking jaw-dropping details, and social media is absolutely on fire. Did the Sky front office really throw their biggest star under the bus? Did Angel Reese finally hit her breaking point? And why did Shaq feel the need to speak out now, when the entire league seems to be against her? Stick around, because the drama, the betrayal, and the shocking defense from Shaq is only the beginning of a story that could change the future of the WNBA forever. To understand why Shaquille O'Neal stepping up for Angel Reese is such a massive deal, we need to rewind and look at how this saga even began. Angel Reese didn't just walk into the WNBA as another rookie, she walked in as the Bayou Barbie, a college basketball superstar who had already become a household name. From her viral trash talk battles with Caitlin Clark to her unapologetic personality on and off the court, Angel entered the league with more eyes on her than almost any player in recent memory. For the Chicago Sky, drafting her wasn't just about adding a skilled forward, it was about bringing in a superstar who could put their franchise back on the map. But almost from day one, cracks started to show. Angel was vocal about the Sky's lack of facilities, the struggles in the front office, and the overall direction of the franchise. She wasn't shy about saying she wanted the Sky to recruit better players and build a championship culture. While some saw her confidence as leadership, others, especially inside the organization, viewed it as arrogance. Reports of tension between Angel and the Sky's front office quickly began leaking out, setting the stage for bigger problems. The breaking point came when Angel started speaking openly in the media. In interviews, she pushed the Sky's leadership to invest more, bring in real talent, and stop settling for mediocrity. Insiders say that those comments rubbed management the wrong way, and from there, the relationship went downhill fast. First came technical fouls and suspensions on the court, then came half-game punishments for comments she made to reporters, and finally, rumors of locker room friction with her teammates began to spread like wildfire. Fans, however, weren't buying the Angel is the problem narrative. From the moment these stories broke, crowds at Sky games began chanting "Free Angel," and social media was flooded with posts defending her. People saw Angel as the victim of an incompetent front office that didn't know how to handle a generational star. Even worse, fans accused the Sky of purposely smearing Angel's name in order to deflect blame from their own failures. That's where Shaquille O'Neal enters the picture, a Hall of Famer, global icon, and one of the most respected voices in basketball. Shaq had already shown love to Angel Reese back when she was in college. He admired her fire, her confidence, and her ability to turn herself into more than just an athlete, a brand. So when word began spreading that the Sky had betrayed Angel, pushing her out and scapegoating her for their failures, Shaq didn't stay silent. He stepped in, sending shockwaves through the basketball world. Shaq's defense of Angel wasn't just a casual comment. Sources say he's been watching the situation closely, frustrated by how one of the WNBA's brightest young stars has been treated. To him, Angel represents more than Chicago's future. She represents the WNBA's future. And Shaq, never one to bite his tongue, made it clear that he was siding with Angel. This background sets the stage for a major showdown. A legendary Hall of Famer using his platform to call out a WNBA franchise, a young star fighting for her respect, and a fanbase caught in the middle of a firestorm. What happens next could reshape not just Angel's career, but the power dynamics of the league itself. The storm truly erupted when whispers of betrayal began circulating through the league. Multiple insiders claimed that the Chicago Sky front office was actively exploring trade scenarios for Angel Reese, just 1 year after she had become the face of their franchise. For fans, this wasn't just shocking, it was infuriating. How could the team that sold tickets, jerseys, and sponsorships off Angel's name suddenly decide she was expendable? The official narrative from the Sky was that Angel had created distractions. They pointed to her fiery personality, her public criticism of the team's facilities, and her refusal to fall in line as signs that she wasn't a long-term fit. But for the fans, this reasoning felt hollow. Angel wasn't causing problems, she was demanding excellence. She wasn't dividing the locker room, she was raising the standard. And instead of addressing her concerns, the front office reportedly started plotting ways to get rid of her. That's when the betrayal narrative began to stick. Fans, journalists, and even rival players started calling out the Sky for what they saw as scapegoating. And the tension exploded when Shaquille O'Neal entered the conversation. Shaq, known for his larger-than-life personality and willingness to speak truth to power, dropped a bombshell during a media appearance. Without hesitation, he defended Angel, saying she was exactly the kind of star the WNBA needs: bold, unafraid, and unapologetic. He didn't stop there. He turned his attention directly toward the Sky, questioning how any team could betray their most marketable player. The first major twist came with Shaq's blunt statement: "If the Chicago Sky don't want Angel Reese, I guarantee you there are 10 other teams that would build their franchise around her." Tomorrow, that one line lit the fuse. Fans immediately started speculating online about where Angel could land if the Sky were foolish enough to let her go. Mock trade proposals flooded social media. Teams like the Dallas Wings, New York Liberty, and even the Indiana Fever were suddenly being thrown into the mix. For Angel, Shaq's defense was a turning point. Up until that moment, it felt like she was fighting an uphill battle against a powerful front office machine trying to control the narrative. But once Shaq put his stamp of approval on her, the power dynamic shifted. Now, the story wasn't Angel Reese as a problem. It was how could Chicago possibly risk losing her? The Sky front office, however, wasn't ready to back down. Reports leaked that some executives were frustrated with Shaq's comments, calling them unnecessary interference. Behind the scenes, the organization doubled down, holding quiet meetings to discuss potential damage control. But the reality was simple. Once Shaq spoke, there was no putting the genie back in the bottle. And here's where the first twist deepened the drama. While Chicago insiders insisted that no formal trade talks had taken place, multiple league sources suggested otherwise. Rumors surfaced that at least 2 teams had quietly reached out about Angel's availability. In other words, Shaq may have been more right than anyone realized. There really were teams lining up at the door, waiting for Chicago to make a mistake. This revelation flipped the entire storyline. What started as a team disciplining their star for speaking out had now become a league-wide conversation about player empowerment, respect, and the future of the WNBA's brightest stars. And with Shaq backing Angel publicly, the Sky suddenly looked less like a professional franchise making tough decisions, and more like a crumbling organization on the verge of losing everything. Shaq's defense of Angel Reese didn't just spark headlines, it ignited a wildfire that the Chicago Sky could no longer control. What had begun as quiet grumblings inside the locker room and whispers of front office dissatisfaction was now a full-blown national storyline. Every sports outlet, from ESPN to late-night talk shows, had an opinion on the drama. The pressure was suffocating, and the Sky's leadership found themselves cornered. At first, Chicago tried damage control. Official statements insisted that Angel was a valued member of the Sky family, and that trade rumors were pure speculation. But no one was buying it. The problem? The leaks kept coming. Anonymous insiders fed journalists a steady stream of juicy details, closed-door arguments, heated team meetings, and even reports of Angel confronting coaches about favoritism and lack of trust. Each leak painted the Sky in a worse light. An Angel as a woman standing up for herself against a system determined to silence her. Then came the shocking reveal that nobody saw coming. An explosive report claimed that Chicago Sky executives had actually been in advanced talks with a rival team, a potential blockbuster trade that would have sent Angel Reese packing just weeks before Shaq's intervention. This wasn't speculation anymore. This was betrayal in its rawest form. The same organization that marketed Angel as their savior, plastered her face on billboards, and cashed in on her stardom was secretly plotting to ship her away. Fans were outraged. The narrative flipped overnight. Instead of asking whether Angel was too difficult, the question became, how could Chicago betray their biggest star? The hashtag #SkyBetrayal trended across social media platforms. Thousands of fans demanded answers, tagging the team's official accounts and threatening boycotts. Season ticket holders began posting screenshots of their cancellations, declaring they would not support an organization that turned its back on the very player keeping them relevant. For Angel, the escalation was personal. Insiders revealed she broke down in tears during a private team meeting, calling the leaks a stab in the back and questioning whether she could trust anyone inside the building. Teammates were reportedly divided, some siding with Angel, others quietly agreeing with management that her star power had become too much. The locker room atmosphere became toxic, with every practice feeling like a powder keg ready to explode. Meanwhile, Shaq doubled down. During a podcast appearance, he accused the Sky of using Angel until they couldn't anymore and reminded fans of his own career battles with management. His fiery defense wasn't just emotional, it was strategic. He warned the WNBA that mistreating its stars would only set the league back, saying, "If Angel Reese isn't safe, then who is? You can't build a league off these young queens and then discard them when they speak their truth." The shocking reveal went deeper than just trade talks. A secondary report claimed that Chicago Sky ownership had reached out to select sponsors, asking if they would remain on board if Angel were no longer with the team. That revelation was the true bombshell. It wasn't just about basketball, it was about money, image, and power. The Sky weren't simply thinking about moving on from Angel, they were actively preparing for a future without her. This revelation didn't just escalate the drama, it blew it wide open. Angel wasn't facing a minor disagreement with coaches or teammates. She was fighting for her career, her reputation, and her place in a league that often struggles to protect its stars. And with Shaq publicly at her side, the Chicago Sky now looked like villains trapped in their own scandal. The betrayal was no longer just rumored, it was real. And the league, the fans, and the world were all watching to see what Angel would do next. The public reaction to the shocking betrayal was instant, emotional, and louder than anything the Chicago Sky had ever faced before. Within minutes of the leaked reports confirming advanced trade talks and sponsorship conversations, social media platforms erupted. Angel Reese wasn't just trending, she was dominating the entire cultural conversation. Fans flooded Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram with passionate messages of support. Clips of Shaq's fiery defense circulated widely, with millions of views piling up within hours. The hashtag #StandWithAngel surged to the top of trending charts, eclipsing even coverage of NFL and MLB games happening the same weekend. One viral post read, "If Angel Reese can't trust the Sky, then how can any player trust this league? This is more than basketball." That sentiment captured the mood. This wasn't just about a player and her team. This was about respect, loyalty, and how female athletes are treated in the spotlight. Meanwhile, the sports world weighed in. ESPN analysts debated the issue on air, with some siding with the Sky's management for exploring options, while others tore into them for betraying the face of their franchise. Former players, both NBA and WNBA, chimed in on podcasts and live streams. Candace Parker, a legend who had her own history with the Chicago Sky, posted cryptically, "Some things never change." That single sentence alone fueled speculation that the Sky had a pattern of mistreating their stars. Shaq wasn't alone in defending Angel either. Other NBA greats, like Dwyane Wade and Carmelo Anthony, reposted Shaq's clips with words of encouragement, while WNBA stars like A'ja Wilson and Breanna Stewart dropped supportive comments on Angel's social media posts. The overwhelming chorus of backing made one thing clear: Angel was not fighting this battle alone. The industry response was just as explosive. WNBA executives were reportedly blindsided by the leaks, and sources revealed that Commissioner Kathy Engelbert personally reached out to Angel to assure her that the league valued her. But even that private gesture couldn't stop the public narrative. The WNBA as a whole was suddenly under the microscope, with commentators questioning whether the league was prepared to protect its stars in an era where visibility and celebrity are as important as wins and losses. Sponsors also reacted quickly. Reebok, Angel's biggest partner, put out a statement praising her strength, courage, and leadership. The timing was no coincidence. They wanted to send a clear signal that they were standing firmly with her. Rumors swirled that other major brands, including Nike and Gatorade, were monitoring the situation closely, with some insiders claiming they'd be willing to make Angel their centerpiece if she split from Chicago. The backlash hit the Sky directly. Their ticket office was flooded with angry calls. Their Instagram comments section turned into a war zone, and local media hammered them daily with hard questions. It was clear, whatever control Chicago thought they had over the narrative was gone. Angel Reese wasn't just a basketball player anymore. She was the centerpiece of a cultural storm, and the Sky were standing in the middle of it, looking like the villains. The public and industry had spoken. Angel Reese was the future, and anyone who crossed her, even her own team, would pay the price. Just when it seemed the dust was beginning to settle, an earth-shattering new twist detonated across social media late one Friday night. A leaked voice recording, allegedly from a private Chicago Sky executive meeting, surfaced online, and it changed everything. In the audio, which spread like wildfire within hours, a voice believed to belong to a high-ranking team official could be heard questioning Angel Reese's commitment, maturity, and long-term value. The words were cold, calculated, and devastatingly personal. The clip ended with a chilling statement. If she wants to be a star more than a player, maybe she belongs somewhere else. The reaction was immediate and brutal. Fans who had once been furious over trade rumors were now outright enraged. To them, this wasn't just about roster moves, it was betrayal on the deepest level. Chicago Sky's front office was no longer painted as cautious business managers. They were villains actively tearing down the very player who had put them back in the spotlight. But then came the true twist. Hours after the leak went viral, Shaquille O'Neal posted a cryptic video that sent shockwaves through the sports world. Sitting courtside at a college game, Shaq looked into the camera and said, "If they don't want you, baby girl, somebody else does. Bigger, better, stronger." Stay tuned. He didn't name names, but the implication was unmistakable. Was Shaq hinting at helping Angel land in a new city? Was he teasing a power move involving ownership stakes, endorsements, or even a direct role in shaping her future outside of Chicago? Insiders whispered that Shaq had already begun reaching out to other franchises, using his influence behind the scenes. The Las Vegas Aces, already stacked with stars, were reportedly monitoring the situation. Another shocking rumor suggested that Shaq himself might push for an ownership role in a WNBA expansion team, with Angel Reese as the face of the franchise. The mere possibility of that kind of bombshell shifted the entire conversation overnight. Meanwhile, the Sky remained silent. Their refusal to address the leaked audio only made things worse. Silence wasn't neutral, it was damning. Every hour without a statement made it appear that the executives truly believed the words in that recording. Angel Reese herself fanned the flames without speaking directly. She posted a black and white picture of herself walking through a tunnel, captioned simply, "Watch me." The post was vague, yet it lit a fire under speculation. Was she promising revenge on the court? Was she preparing to walk away from the Sky? Or was she signaling a much larger move orchestrated with Shaq's backing? The story no longer felt like a franchise drama. It felt like a revolution in motion. Angel Reese had gone from betrayed player to cultural icon, standing at the crossroads of her career. And with Shaq in her corner, the possibilities stretched beyond anything fans could imagine. The cliffhanger was undeniable. Would Angel Reese stay and fight against the Chicago Sky's betrayal? Or was she about to shock the world with the most dramatic departure in WNBA history? One thing was certain. The next move would change everything. The story is far from over. And Angel Reese now stands at the center of one of the biggest crossroads in WNBA history. With Shaq stepping in, the leaked recordings spreading like wildfire, and fans demanding answers. The question isn't just about whether Angel will stay in Chicago. It's about whether the entire power structure of women's basketball is about to shift before our eyes. But what do you think? Should Angel Reese walk away from the Chicago Sky and team up with Shaq on a bigger stage? Or should she stay, fight back, and prove she can't be broken by front office betrayal? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'll be reading every single one. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because the next chapter in this saga will be even more explosive. Trust me, you won't want to miss it.